My name's George Robson. Welcome to Save, Share, Swipe with Peter Sagal. All right, Peter, 401k loans.
401k loans, save.
Save.
These are an important part of the evolution of our financial society. Everyone's got 401ks and everyone's figuring out how to use them, either to self-direct into alternative investments because you don't want to continue to earn market rate returns from your managed accounts, or to be able to borrow against them. And look, they're an asset, they're your asset, you paid into them, and you got to try and max out what you got. I'm not a big fan of 401ks as a mechanism to get rich.
Right.
But I am a fan of using them, borrowing against them, or putting them into other assets that just earn more. So I'm not giving you financial advice, but that's my opinion on them.
It's all just for entertainment. Tri-state area as a real estate market.
The thing about the tri-state area, everything's about supply and demand. So the tri-state area has a lot of demand, right? If you're not in Manhattan, if you're not in Philadelphia, you're in the outskirts, you're in the suburbs. And pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, we're seeing that people are still staying in the tri-state area. They're not moving to Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I love using Sheboygan as my go-to.
Is that a real place?
It is.
Wow.
Put it up right there. Sheboygan. Want to move to Sheboygan? There it is. So they're still in the tri-state area. They're just moving within and around the tri-state area. Lots of demand. The culture's here. The education's here. The job growth is here. Look at Google in Manhattan. Look at Amazon regionally, distribution centers. I mean, this is a major area. If you want to be in the middle of it, the tri-state area is pretty much the center of the world. So for those reasons, the tri-state area real estate market is a save. It's not going away anytime soon. I mean, they're building, they're developing, more people are coming. These are not business-friendly environments by any means. So if you're going to be in the real estate markets here, just know how to navigate the regulatory and municipal and legal and political landscape, because that's really dictating your metrics as much as your prices to buy and sell and to rent.
Yeah. Katy Perry.
Oh, I love Katy Perry. Save. My daughter loves Katy Perry. I love Katy Perry. My daughter wants me to play Katy Perry YouTube videos at night when we go to sleep. I now know the words to pretty much every Katy Perry song.
Fantastic.
Because of that. Yeah, I'm a lion. Hear me roar.
Fantastic. CryptoPunk NFTs.
CryptoPunk. I was a fan of Pudgy Penguins. Those have come and gone. So I'm going to swipe on CryptoPunk.
Cool. I just listened to an interview with the founders there, and it's interesting. There's still just two people. It's just two guys.
Amazing.
Sleeping 8 hours.
Swipe. Sleep 6. That's all you need. You need those 2 extra hours to get shit done.
Painted brick.
Oh, save. George, I can't tell you how many times a week I have this conversation. We're saving painted brick. Here's why. Most of the brick construction that we see is very old. There's no recent construction that's brick. I'm in multifamily. We're not building new construction multifamily buildings out of brick anymore. All the brick multifamily that we have it's dated, it's old. It's old as the 30s and the 60s and the 70s. When we buy these old buildings that are made from brick, they just look like old, tired brick. I mean, the brick is sandblasted over the years, it's eroded, and we're at the Jersey Shore, so there's salty air, lots of storms, lots of wind. What do? We put an elastomeric paint product on, so we'll prime it with elastomeric primer, 2 coats, and then we'll put 2 coats of elastomeric paint on there. The elastomeric is a real thick, rubbery sort of paint product that the porous brick material sucks in. It'll last 10, 15 years before you need to repaint it, even in a coastal location where you're subject to all the weather and the elements. And it just looks good. You can paint it charcoal, give it a modern look, or white or off-white. You can do white with like black around the window moldings and window openings. We do sort of a dove seashell gray. And we do different gray tones for the coping and the window sills. And I'm a big fan of painting brick. I think brick is an old, dated look. Do whatever you can to make your buildings look fresh and modern. I like paint. It's easy, it's quick, it's affordable and economical, and it lasts.
Index funds via Roth IRA.
Swipe Roth IRA. Look, most people don't have access to a plethora of investment alternatives.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't have access to a lot of stuff, the Roth IRA is a very powerful tool. For most people out there who are relying on their employer or the PPO or the union or someone to give them alternatives to invest into 401ks, Roths, pensions, things like this. It's an important part of that puzzle. For me, I don't have Roths. I'm a real estate person. I have access to other types of investments. I don't love them because you're not going to get rich on them. It's a good place to put some money during the duration of your tenure with an employer in your career. I believe, guys, it's not going to get you rich. Now, there's strategies on how to use your Roth IRAs to access the funds without paying the early withdrawal fees and the taxes and the penalties and all of that. And that can be a whole other segment. But look, Roth IRAs are good. They're necessary. They serve their place in the marketplace. They're not going to get you rich. Learn how to use them to the maximum amount of your capabilities as permitted by the rules and the regulations. Same with your 401k. Index funds, guys, we've talked about this before. 96% of fund managers can't even beat the S&P. They match it or less, right? So there's 4% of the fund managers out there that are running index funds that beat the S&P, that beat the index. Yeah. I don't have index funds as part of my life because I'm amongst a crowd that I think is educated and has access to alternative types of investments. And they're called alternative investments because they're not index funds. They're not 401ks. They're not Roth IRAs. So it's alternative to that. They're very important for people that don't have the access. But if you do have access, I don't know that index funds is how you're going to get rich either. Look, if you want to look back in history, the S&P has increased, I think it's like 10 or 12% a year over the past 40 years. So if you feel confident that that's going to be the case for the next 40 years, you could put your money in an index fund and go to sleep at night and just wake up in 40 years and have a bunch of money. I take a little bit more hands-on and active approach.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is share index funds, swipe Roth IRA with reservations, but get into real estate by all accounts if you can, you know.
What George said.